If you would like to add a bit of international flair to your job applications, well, this is for you. I've dug through dozens of job boards to find out exactly what languages can boost your resume and add up to 35% to your salary. So we're talking more languages, more money, and probably more travel too. What is not to love? Here are 8 languages that can help you out.
A temporada até agora tem sido positiva, né? Vamos em primeiro.
Portuguese is not only one of my personal favorite languages, it is a favorite with work recruiters too, and it might be giving even Spanish a run for its money. No, I'm not crazy. Portuguese really packs a punch on your resume, but where in the world? Well, for business, Brazil is probably the main attraction. Huge country, huge market, biggest economy in Latin America. And have you seen this insane tower in the Amazon jungle? Do you know what that is? Hold that thought.
E hoje eu vou trazer você para conhecer a cidade que abriu as portas para mim aqui em Portugal e que me deu muitas oportunidades. Tá preparado? Vem comigo que eu vou te mostrar um pouco sobre a cidade de Guimarães.
Portugal is an amazing place to work if you speak Portuguese. It's one of the countries with the most developed tourism industries. It employs millions of foreigners in tourism alone. It's great for your resume, but here's the catch. You've got to get your Portuguese up to scratch. Why am I rhyming here? In Lisbon, you can get away with English, but for most other places, they're going to want you to know Portuguese.
Lisbon is obviously a hub where you can learn a lot of tech startups are here. There's a lot of international companies are based here, so obviously it's so easy for you to get a job. And just keep in mind that just because you are looking for an English job doesn't mean that you should not study the language of Portuguese.
As for Brazil, I mean, come on guys, do I even need to say it? Brazil is another universe. I lived there for over a year myself. The most Portuguese speakers actually live in Brazil, not Portugal, and this is one of the top economies in the world. So think cutting edge fields like biotech and energy. They also have a massive tourism and hospitality industry, which matters to the US because, well, they're one of the top 5 nations that boost America's economy. Also, Brazil, well, it's the lungs of the world, isn't it?
A Amazônia não é o pulmão do mundo. Para começo de conversa, a expressão já é meio estranha, porque o pulmão ele consome oxigênio e solta gás carbônico. Não é bem isso que as pessoas querem dizer quando falam pulmão do mundo.
Okay. He doesn't agree. See, if you knew Portuguese, you'd get him. Nevertheless, Brazil is king in fighting climate change, and the US is very interested, which means more Portuguese-speaking jobs for you.
Arquiteto e arquiteta, psicólogo e psicóloga, enfermeiro ou enfermeira, ator ou atriz, açougueiro.
Now hear me out on this next one. You want a resume that makes you different, right? If you know only Spanish, well, you're kind of limited to working on one side of Latin America, but far fewer people choose to learn Portuguese, which is exactly why you should go for it. Now, about that tower sticking out of the jungle, don't freak out, it's not bad. They are measuring all kinds of important things in the atmosphere. If you're a research scientist, this is pretty much heaven for you. Look at this job here, biological technician, and you get to work up there. Brazil is a scientific superpower. They're doing insane scientific and medical research, and guess what language they speak?
Isso também faz com que a acidez dos dois rios seja diferente. Enquanto o Rio Solimões tem um pH neutro, perto de 7, o Rio Negro tem um pH mais ou menos de 5,5. E tudo isso também faz com que a biodiversidade nos dois rios seja bem diferente.
And don't underestimate Portuguese on a world scale either. It is growing. In fact, Portuguese is one of the fastest growing languages in the world. Isn't that wild? Brazil also has close ties to the UK, Canada, Australia, even Asian companies are interested. The other day on LinkedIn, I saw an invitation for Singapore businesses to invest in Brazil. Everyone wants in, and all this is making Portuguese a secret weapon in the job market. Just one problem.
Portugal eles dizem fish, mas no Brasil nós dizemos legal, frigorífico, geladeira, chávena.
No, don't worry. No matter which dialect you choose, you are going to sound very cool speaking Portuguese. Now, before I get to number 2 in the list, I discovered a strange statistic the other day. 93.3% of you guys who have watched my videos in the last 30 days are not actually subscribed to the channel, which means you enjoy the videos, but for some reason you haven't subscribed. So let me ask you a quick favor. If you enjoy the channel, if you found any of my videos useful, then please take just approximately 2.7 seconds to hit the subscribe button and follow the channel. It's free for you, but actually means an awful lot to me because it tells YouTube that people are enjoying my videos. I would love to get that 93% number down to 75% by the end of this year. So what do you say? Help me out?
بريطاني؟ نعم أنا بريطاني. شوف عشان تتأكدوا أنا بريطاني، فمعنى ذلك أن اليوم أنا ما أقدر أستخدم لغتي الأول الذي هو الإنجليزية.
Now, Arabic pops on a resume like a neon sign, and if you can speak both Arabic and English, you're going to get attention. So I was poking around on job sites like Indeed. Let's see what's here if I scroll through some of the jobs. Medical interpreter, Arabic summer camp, translator, Arabic linguist needed in Alabama. Alabama? Very interesting. You can also be a caseworker if you like helping communities, and I even see nanny jobs here. Nice.
I am looking for a Arabic-speaking nanny for a 3.5-year-old and a 7-year-old in Manhattan, in Tribeca. It's a live-in position. You have to speak, read and write in Arabic.
So way back in the day, Arabic was the go-to for science and maths. Nowadays, it's making a huge comeback, especially in business. Think big sectors, oil, tech, construction, diplomacy. Arabic speakers are gold in the US. It's not just niche fields either. I mean, look here, if you love research and writing, that's a good option too, which you could probably even do from home, or skip the resume, do what he's doing.
لكن مثل تعلم أي شيء، لو تريد أن تتعلم هذا الشيء لازم تستخدمها في حياتك. يعني لازم practice، تدربها في حياتك. Like you have to practice a lot. Practice makes perfect is a very true statement. You just have to do it all the time.
You hear that accent? Amazing. And British. Hop on over to the UK and you're likely to be very highly considered in the business landscape. I looked at the kind of jobs where they value Arabic, and over 26% of UK employers said that Arabic skills are useful. 26! Second highest average salaries too.
As one of the 6 official UN languages, Arabic can be a real boost for careers in international organisations and diplomacy, as well as journalism, tourism and international trade.
But why is Arabic such a big deal? Well, it's all about bridging the gap. A lot of UK and US companies have been expanding their operations into the Middle East. So even things like breaking news using the right words is super important. Plenty of jobs for reporters and foreign correspondents.
Marhaban, I'm Rosemary Davis and I'm the government's Arabic-speaking spokesperson based in the Middle East.
Hey, small job or big job, very few Westerners can speak Arabic. So this is one language to make you a unicorn candidate, or is it a purple unicorn?
وأنت تتكلم اللغة العربية أيضا، هذا شيء غريب وممتاز لي.
نعم يعني خاصة إن نحن أجنبيين، يعني أنت من بريطانيا وأنا من كندا.
أيوة.
ونتكلم اللغة العربية، هذا الشيء سبحان الله يعني عجيب كما قلت.
Job recruiters will be practically stalking these two guys. Now, let's talk nuts and bolts. Arabic is a slightly harder language, certainly than Portuguese, the first one in our list. Certain sounds in Arabic are pretty hard to get used to for English speakers, and you just have to tackle the pronunciation head on. You've got sounds like that ayn, just right down here in the throat that English speakers just never use, and you've got lots of breathy sounds as well. It is quite different, but it's all learnable. Also, the words themselves in Arabic, you have to kind of think in a slightly different way. Words in Arabic mostly start from a 3-letter base that you can kind of add a bunch of different vowel sounds into. It's very different from English, but once you get used to it, it starts to click. I learned Egyptian Arabic myself when I was living in Cairo. I was teaching there for a couple of years, and it was really, it was a fantastic time. But learning Arabic as well was such a profound experience. Now, with a language like Arabic, you do need a lot of speaking practice, and finding a speaking partner is one of the most fundamental parts of any language learning journey, whether that's a professional tutor to help you learn or a speaking partner to help you practice. You just need it. If you're learning a language from home, it makes everything so much easier, but finding that person who you really enjoy learning with, who really actually helps you learn, you know, that great language partner or teacher, can be really difficult. I've lost count of the number of tutors that I've tried over the years, and it can be tricky to find that perfect person. But in recent times, I've been getting all of my language lessons from LanguaTalk. Now, LanguaTalk is a website where you can find tutors from all over the world who teach lots of different languages. And the reason that I've stuck with LanguaTalk is that the website, first of all, is fantastically easy to use. One of the features I most like about it is that I can select the times that I want to take lessons, and I can actually filter tutors who are also available at that time. So it just kind of cuts down the whole faff of figuring out, okay, when are you available? When am I available? All of that. You can just take care of that right from the start. And that's just one of many examples of the way that the team at LanguaTalk really take care to give you a fantastic experience when it comes to finding, selecting and booking tutors. It's better than any other platform out there that I've found. And full disclosure, here at StoryLearning, we actually like LanguaTalk so much that we have invested into the company because we really want to be a part of this mission to provide the best possible service for people that want to connect with language tutors. Now, if you'd like to try it out, you can get a free trial lesson with most of the tutors there. Not all, but most of them. You can click the link in the description. That will take you over to LanguaTalk, and if the link is working correctly, you should see a little message from me welcoming you to the site. So link in the description, check out LanguaTalk, best place to get your speaking practice. Now back to the video.
So the Netherlands is a small country, Dutch is spoken there, but we used to conquer many different countries all over the world many years ago, and that's why Dutch is still spoken in some areas of the world, like Asia or Africa. We are everywhere.
Here is one that can catapult you ahead. Yes, Dutch. Don't shake your head at me, this is not a mistake. It's pretty high on the trend list because, for one thing, the Netherlands is one of the most innovative and open-minded corners of the world.
Ben jij begonnen met Nederlands leren?
Nederlands leren. Nou, ik heb mijn eerste les gedaan, ik denk 2020 of zo, 2019, maar die was meer gewoon een online les. Maar ja, dat was meer gewoon de basische dingen. En toen ik ben hier verhuisd, dacht ik echt dat ik ga Nederlands leren van.
Isn't that cool? You sound so good. Dutch happens to be one of the top 3 European languages to learn for business. That's me using those handy job filters there. And it surprises many people, but the numbers don't lie. So what's going on here? I bet you're thinking this is weird because Dutch people all speak English, right? Bit of an unexpected career hack I'm giving you. Hear me out. It all comes down to the close working relationship between the UK and the Netherlands and a very competitive job market.
If you're looking to move here and you're looking for a job in English, yes, you will be able to find some jobs, but if you want to stay here for longer than, let's say, 3 years, knowing only just English is not really going to help you go where you want to go. Because at the end of the day, a lot of the decisions and very much skeletal stuff regarding businesses are all in Dutch.
So major industries are digital innovation and startups. And if you've never been to the Netherlands, picture it as this buzzing hub for all things cool and techie, from fintech to green tech and beyond.
The Netherlands has a thriving startup scene, offering exciting opportunities for talented individuals. Startups in the Netherlands often focus on sustainability, innovation, and social impact.
Yep, and there are lots of sustainability and green energy jobs. The world's going green. You knew that. And guess who we're following? That's right, the Netherlands. These kind of teams are passionate, and if you want to fit into their world, what's the best way to show that you're all in? Well, it is, of course, to learn Dutch. It's not even all that hard, really. I'll show you later. Some popular grad jobs are in these fields. Now, I'll admit, it is not a huge demand like some languages, but Dutch pays very, very well. The Netherlands is one of the richest countries in the world, top 10 for highest salaries in Europe.
I consider myself extremely lucky, and I'm very grateful that I get to live and work in Amsterdam. It is one of the most international, most open-minded, vibrant city in Europe. There's so many foreign companies here with multilingual talent and also very popular homegrown brands like Booking.com. They hire so many expats. Most employers here value your level of education, your ability to communicate well, especially in English. But if you can speak fluent Dutch, that's also great because it opens a lot of opportunities for you.
And here's a shocker. The demand for Dutch speakers stretches far beyond the Netherlands. In fact, you could strike gold in countries like Portugal, Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, and Spain.
Did you know that your Dutch language skills opens up a world of opportunities when it comes to your career? There is plenty of countries around the globe where your ability to speak Dutch is highly, highly valued. If you could be interested in moving abroad to places like Greece, Portugal and Cyprus, then we have the opportunity for you.
All those Dutch-speaking Dutch people, and they still have skills shortages? Yeah, it seems so. According to Europe Language Jobs, get this, there are more vacancies for Dutch speakers than there are Dutch people. Mad. The best part of Dutch, of course, though, is that it happens to be one of the easiest languages you can learn as a native English speaker. Isn't that great?
Some useful words when you visit the Netherlands. Definitely the first thing you need to learn is lekker. Lekker we use for everything. Lekker we say for food, we say for women.
And Dutch grammar is your friendly neighbour. The sentence structure and many words are very similar to English. The hardest part might be getting the hang of this.
The it's very strong, it's very in the back of the throat. It's like you're, It's like you're angry, it's like you're... That is we want, that's the Dutch.
Did I mention they're the 5th happiest country in the world? And wouldn't it be fun to cycle to work? I would just love that. Just say yeah to that. Now for a small elaborate plot for world domination.
Bonjour. Bonjour. Bonjour, Senor Vampatin. Rawel, ça va?
We don't speak French, so we don't understand what you're saying.
Oh, quel dommage. I'm so sorry, you know, when I speak in French all day in class, you forget you're speaking a foreign language.
Yeah, I don't have that problem.
The language that proves you can be both elegant and incredibly useful without even breaking a sweat. If you want to take over the world, why not learn one of the fastest growing languages in the world? Makes sense, right? Good plan. Just look at all these officially French-speaking countries. There's one little bump, but we'll get to that later.
Oh la 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 la.
So why French and why now? Well, you might not even realize what kind of jobs are out there for French bilinguals. Here's a little nugget of knowledge for you. A lot of people can say bonjour. Go on, try it, it's really not that hard. But can you negotiate a contract or lead a project in French? Well, can you?
Another thing that I've been able to do thanks to French is I'm working as a journalist, so it's meant that I've been able to interview people in French, which has been a big bonus for my career, but also really, really fun.
So it's not just about ordering snails with confidence. French is a language of people who have their career game on point. And if you play your cards right, French can give you a story or two to tell. Just ask these guys.
You have a client, you hear the French accent and you can ask, do you prefer to speak French? And then you switch over into a language and you instantly feel them open up and feel a lot more comfortable.
If you dream of working in a European country, French will be more useful in most cases. Because here's a little bump I mentioned. Hiring in Europe is complicated. Just about everyone is multilingual. In fact, French is one of the few languages where the high number of speakers worldwide coincides with a high demand in the job market too. So what does that mean for you? It means you're certainly not helping yourself by not speaking French.
While currently there are 220 million speakers worldwide, by 2065, French is expected to have over 1 billion speakers. As the world goes global, multinational companies everywhere consider bilingual speakers. And with the growing economy and international relations, it is no wonder you will be more valuable as a French-speaking employee.
The exciting part is that because French is so strong, it's also one of the key languages that will earn you big bucks. An absolute winner around the world. Though it might surprise you exactly where French dominates. Which industry? We'll find out.
Being able to go to another country and drop straight into the language and be at ease makes my life so much easier, whether it be in Rwanda or Côte d'Ivoire or Senegal or Montreal.
As my recruitment officer was looking at my resume, he said, "Oh, you speak French?" I said yes, and he said, "Oh, we can use you in an intelligence position if we make you an officer."
By the way, have you heard of Bill 96? It really made a lot of people crazy, but it might work for you. Watch this space. I've been digging into job markets, and it is crazy how much French can amp up your resume.
An American who lives and works in Paris, one of the questions I most commonly get are, what are the best job industries to go into if you want to do the same? The first is the tech industry, such as Google, Meta, Amazon, even the smaller fintechs or any other tech company out there. Then you have consulting companies such as MBB or the Big Four companies. You can go the diplomatic global citizen route, work for like the OECD or the UN.
They're all eyeballing bilingual people because let's face it, French isn't just Paris and croissants. It's an official language of 29 countries. So in international relations or NGOs, it's practically a must-have. French also dominates education and diplomacy, and of course there's finance, law, tech, food, luxury brands.
There's so many French companies that are massive, international, but headquartered in Paris that make it easy to transfer here.
And of course, do not forget Canada. Forget Canada at your peril, and a small problem. Bill 96 is a newish hiring rule in the French state of Quebec. Basically, if you're a foreigner wanting a job in Quebec, you have to first learn French to an intermediate level.
So my wife reached out to 311 to just find out exactly what was happening. And they basically told her, which still shocks me today, that she didn't have the right to be communicated to in English.
Bill 96 is designed to stop the decline of the French language, especially in Montreal. Most civil servants must now communicate with citizens in French.
Better remember that. French, big deal on your CV. And it's so nice though, isn't it? It's such a nice language. How hard can it really be?
Et pour vous? Un jus de fruit.
Une jus de fruit. Orange. Jus de fruit? Ah, un jus de fruit à l'orange.
Don't worry, practicing French pronunciation is totally worth it in the end.
इसमें कोई हज़ार नहीं है, आपको बस टारगेट से मीटिंग करवानी है, बस बाकी हम संभाल लेंगे।
इस बार तो कोई गंदे रहो। James Bond वाली, wait the PKK.
Now before you say I will never use Hindi, this guy did in his audition.
He found me on YouTube. He just searched literally on YouTube, Gora speaking Hindi, which means white man speaking Hindi. And I was there on YouTube, and he got the casting agency to call me. They got me to come to Mumbai to do an audition, and here we are today.
So he gets the job, takes 50 Hindi lessons, and now this is his life.
A random person just called me today and said, "Can you come and audition?" And that's how my life worked.
Just like that, but this is India, a fairly big place, so a few other careers do come to mind. Imagine working with tech geniuses in Bangalore. India is a tech titan, there's a word, and there's this whole Make in India initiative going on. Even in massive media companies like Sun Group, Indians speak Hindi in their business discussions, and they are not all fluent in English. So if you want in, start practicing. Heck, I'll learn Hindi just to be able to write like this.
क्योंकि वो थिंग है और वो इंटरनेट से कनेक्टेड है क्योंकि वो फोन से कनेक्टेड है। तो कोई भी थिंग जो सेंस कर रही है कुछ, अगर वो अपने फोन से या इंटरनेट से कनेक्टेड है, उसे कहते हैं इंटरनेट ऑफ थिंग्स।
Brilliant man, that. If you love India, lots of startup opportunities there. It's one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Many job options will be in medical and health services. And if you like making a difference, so many good NGOs are doing their thing in the rural areas.
मैं कॉल सेंटर में 2 साल से काम कर रही हूँ। मैं हफ्ते में 40 घंटे काम करती हूँ। कभी कम और कभी-कभी थोड़ा ज़्यादा है।
I have no words. How is she this good? But you can get great jobs at home in your country too. There are tons of Indian companies going global. Did you know Hindi is ranked as one of the top 10 most profitable languages for business? Also, the US has the 3rd most Hindi speakers in the world. If you're a digital nomad, you just need to be able to understand and type in Hindi. What do you think? Easier than the speaking part?
मैं मैनचेस्टर से हूँ। मेरा नाम हरी है।
हरी है।
इंडिया बहुत खूबसूरत है और मैं बहुत पसंद है।
अरे यार, आपका हिंदी बहुत सुंदर है ना?
Here's a job ad that sounds cool. It says, would you like a role that makes a real world impact? They're looking for people to join their intelligence team. Identifying online threats. Sounds absolutely exciting. Now listen to this guy.
Choose a language that you can actually use every day. You can get away with just speaking English in India. आप राजस्थान से है ना? ठीक है. Takes a long time to learn these, so every morning for a couple of weeks I sat down with my girlfriend and we just went over the tongue placements and the pronunciations.
Hey, I do not argue with big YouTube stars. I'm in no mood to make enemies. Huge untapped potential with this language, if you ask me. But what's Hindi like? Any clues for us?
So Hindi has 4 T's. Listen to these 4 T's and see if you can hear the difference. Ta, 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 ta. Very difficult, right? There's 4 D sounds as well. So da, 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 da.
If you like language challenges, there you go.
Hallo. Zuerst möchte ich mich mal kurz vorstellen. Ich heiße Freddy, bin 26 Jahre alt und ich komme aus Indonesien.
Now, in case you missed the news, German has become a must-know language in Europe. They need German speakers in huge numbers, so it's basically a ticket to the VIP section of the job market.
There was this nice German lady. She was looking for a villa to rent. And when we visited the villa, she started to speak German. And when I noticed, I tried to join the conversation. She was shocked, obviously, but in a good way. We ended up closing the deal. That's when I realized my German really paid off.
I looked at multilingualvacancies.com. Takes a while to type that one. They are one of the UK and Europe's top job boards for us language lovers. And what do you know? German tops the list. I mean, it is Europe, so hardly surprising. Companies actually compete with each other when it comes to offering the most attractive benefits. Plus, you get to say all these fun things. Not that you'll be asking your boss for glowing pears, mind you. Or maybe you will. Who wants to translate for us?
This is the first meeting with your business partner and you are wondering what is he or she actually looking for. Was suchen Sie? Was suchen Sie.
By the way, don't believe the stories that everyone in Germany speaks English. It's more like 56%.
So in Hamburg, how the culture is, even if the job is an English-only job, like for example, the job I have right now, my work is all in English, but the company culture, my colleagues, the interviews, everything was in German. Most of the interviews I was going on, that was the case, was the job was in English, but the interviews were in German.
And then there's this problem.
Everything in Germany is in German. It doesn't matter where you are. Do you want to rent a flat? Apply in German. Do you want to go to the doctor? Well, good luck finding one who speaks your language.
How to fit in 101. But listen, Germany is an absolute powerhouse, massive in science research, psychology, the arts and humanities. Berlin and software developers, they're really best mates. Europe has all these other super important countries too, of course. So if German doesn't exactly fill your heart with sparkles, you can twist that recipe. Swiss German, maybe. It's lovely. Have you heard about the jobs in Switzerland? Well, Switzerland is well known for its high wages, high standard of living, thriving economy. Things are pretty expensive here, but the salaries make up for it. And seriously, who wouldn't want to work here?
Ich arbeite in einem Tech-Startup in Zürich und die meisten von uns gehen aber nur wenige Tage ins Büro und arbeiten die restlichen Tage remote. Endlich bin ich im Büro angekommen. Das sind unsere Arbeitsplätze mit einem Bildschirm, einem Bürostuhl, einem Pult.
Lots of competition for jobs in banking, electronics, luxury products, watches, travel, chocolates. If you're seeing the hidden bonus here, well, you're paying attention. But let's say you're a beach bum and you can't live without a tan. Even Brazil needs German speakers. They have some big German companies, mainly tech and cars. Actually, more than 45% of techie jobs everywhere ask for German. Top of the languages list.
Ich würde also vorschlagen, nachzufragen, genau wie, wo und wann du deine Sprachen benutzen wirst. Um meine jetzige Stelle zu bekommen, musste ich zum Beispiel einen Sprachentest machen, weil ich ständig mit internationalen Kunden arbeiten würde. Und ich hätte ohne Sprachenskills diese Stelle nie bekommen. Sprich, Sprachen sind obligatorisch und nicht nur optional.
Now, what about the money? Well, The Economist, and we trust these guys, they place German top of the highest paying languages to learn, especially if you're in the US. Why? Mainly because in the US, German is not as in demand as other foreign languages, which means when it is in demand, you have a bit of a bargaining chip when it comes to salary. And since we're all being honest here, German is quite hard at the beginning.
Könnten Sie mir bitte einen Kaffee bringen? Einen Kaffee bitte. Wissen Sie zufällig, wo ich das Brandenburger Tor finden kann? Sorry, wo ist das Brandenburger Tor?
Make some German friends. That's the best advice that I can give.
Mi sono laureata nella lingua italiana e quindi è così che potevo imparare la lingua. E adesso mi sento bene parlando in italiano, non devo pensare troppo a quello che sto dicendo. Sicuramente a volte faccio dei errori, però è normale, io sono americana.
All right, let's chat about adding a little bit of sprezzatura to your resume. Any of you guys into fashion? You can tell that I am, right? If you're eyeing a spot in the fashion world, maybe in a city buzzing with style, I don't know, New York, say, and your resume says fluent in Italian. That's like wearing a designer label to your interview.
So the number one most important advice for those looking for a job in Italy is, surprise, surprise, learn Italian. I actually only even started to get interviews for the roles that I wanted once I wrote to hiring managers and recruiters in Italian, and when I also sent my CVs in Italian.
She actually applied first for a job in English, but they didn't even respond to her. There's a hot little tip right there. If you speak Italian, write an Italian version of your resume and don't be scared of the interview.
While writing to the HR recruiter or the hiring manager in Italian with a CV in Italian is very helpful to get you that first interview, none of the interviews that I actually had were in Italian. They were all in English, and I think that they could tell from my CV or just from speaking with me that I would be much more comfortable speaking in English instead of Italian. Like all the big fashion ones like Gucci or Prada or Valentino, I know that they conduct business in English, and I know like all the big tech companies that you can think of, all the car companies like Ferrari, they do conduct business in English, but it's much more helpful for you, and they're more inclined to hire someone who can speak Italian or shows that they're learning Italian and trying to learn Italian.
I got my own tip from a recruiter on LinkedIn. At Amazon, there are major operations locations in Italy, so knowing Italian is useful. If you're a recruiter on the Amazon team, you're very prized if you can speak to candidates in their first language.
You could be selling sand in the desert, but if you're exceptionally good at what you do, Italy
will always have a place for you.
Honestly, people don't take Italian anywhere near seriously enough as a business language. The British Council said something cool. Speaking Italian is a gold star on your CV. Italian is rarer as a second language, and that will put you in a certain category. Plus, it's a conversation starter. You speak Italian? Oh, go on, say something for me.
Guarda, provo a convincerlo, ma non lo so. Vediamo. Perché? Perché conosco I miei polli. Perché conosco I miei polli. Because I know my chickens. What on earth did I just say?
If you know what that means, write it in the comments. As for the UK, Italian's in the top 10 languages for our most important export markets. In one study I read, they analysed more than 7,000 job listings on Indeed, mentioning a second language. And guess who came in the top 5? Yeah, not difficult, I know. But now what about all those big Italian jobs you can always find?
Doctors, probably the most needed figure in Italy. A profession very much needed is also nurses, physiotherapists, social workers. Also, ICT technicians will be very much needed in Italy. Also, engineers, mathematicians, restaurant workers, very skilled construction workers.
Aren't you happy I have Italian on this list here? Nice, easy one to learn. And let's be honest, you'll be living your best life. And if that sounds good, hit the like button on this video. Go on, help me out. Hit that like button. It tells YouTube this video is cool.
Learning Japanese was perhaps the most pivotal and influential decision I've made in my life so far. It's the language that I went the deepest into, it's the language that I've done the most things with, and I would say it's also the language I've lived the most numerous, the deepest, and the richest life experiences through.
Did you know that in Japan there is a demand for bilingual ski and snowboard instructors? You could work at some of the biggest, most mind-blowing ski resorts in the world.
Yo!
Is that his first one?
Oh, this is the first time.
See this guy's problem? Anyone can get a winter job teaching tourists, but in the summer months, most of their visitors are Japanese, and if you speak Japanese, you can even do amazing jobs like kayak tours. You see this? So good. Meanwhile, in 2024, Tokyo decided to become the world's most startup-friendly city. They did. They have this plan to increase new startups from 10,000 to 100,000 in 5 years. Just one reason why Japan was voted Country of the Year. Their trailblazing tech is another reason. Robotics, gaming, semiconductors. The government's throwing some serious money at all of this. Meanwhile, the world watches Japan setting these trends, so I don't know why more people don't speak Japanese. I mean, what are they thinking? If you're an engineer or a gadget geek, you might want to look into it. Get into the heart of innovation.
Master these 3 skills and you can land any job in Japan. Japanese. Except for international roles and companies, the working language of most companies in Japan is typically Japanese. Depending on which company and role you apply to, the language requirements varies from JLPT N3 to N1. For corporate jobs, companies require a minimum N2 or business level Japanese skills.
I should mention this too. Big companies often look for bilingual people who can help Japanese people at the main offices communicate with non-Japanese people in the satellite offices.
Through all these other connections, I even managed to get a job as an interpreter. And so I actually went to Japan 3 months early. And I cannot tell you how mind-blowing the experience was. I had never been anywhere near Japan. And so to go to a place so incredibly different from my own home country, but to already be speaking the language to a really high level of fluency as soon as I stepped foot into the country. I can't describe the feeling. It was very much like going home.
Yep, ignore the critics. Japanese is an irreplaceable skill. If you're in the US, here's something pretty cool. In February and October, Cisco International holds mega job fairs in the US for people who are bilingual in Japanese and English, so maybe keep an eye out if you're looking for a cool job.
I was 19 years old when I began learning Japanese, and I have to tell you, the cognitive transformation that I went through was absolutely phenomenal.
I completely agree. Languages lead to other new things because they really do improve your brain. And if you want to hear more about that fascinating topic, it's time to watch this video right over here.